Well, February has come and gone. A month that most people spend enjoying their loved ones, enjoying Valentine's Day, the beautiful spirit of love, and many of us, other people, spend it just kind of depressed that we don't have that every single year. Regardless of how you're spending February, every single year we do often get a lot of new movies, TV shows, and typically video games in the month of February, and this year was no different except for one little catch. It was a lot of trash this month. A lot of garbage. This was just a poor month for me in general, mentally speaking, and movie-wise. Of course I'm talking about movies. Now, we did have a lot of stuff that came out this month, a lot of stuff that I personally watched, some stuff that I played, so I just kind of want to rank through every movie, TV show, and game that I had experienced this month. Some of these things are ongoing, so I am going to rank them still, even though they're not finished. Some of them are not so ongoing. They're, completed, and maybe I wanted more of them, or maybe I wanted a lot less of them, but either way, we're going to go through every single one of these things. These are just going to be new things, new shows, new TV stuff. So I played a lot of stuff this month. I played the Final Fantasy VII Remake, made a whole video on it. It's not going to be on this list. I watched a bunch of other movies. Not going to be here, just new stuff. So yeah, let's just get into it. We're going to go worst to best. Last, and certainly least, is Madame Web. Yeah. Madame Web is atrocious. Everybody knows it. I'm going to be the 15,000th person you've seen on the internet the last month, tell you. Now, there are some things I appreciate about Madame Web. I'm happy it exists, because I had a damn good time watching it in theaters. This is one of those movies that's so bad, it's just so much fun to watch, and I think because of that, it's going to live a lot of years after this. I think people are going to be putting this on at parties to laugh at it. I think people are going to be making videos, making fun of it. It's just one of those movies that's so hilariously not good. It's so entertaining. But obviously, just from a movie perspective, there's really no plot in this movie. The plot itself on paper kind of sounds cool, this Terminator style, I've seen the future, come with me if you want to live style plot. Like, it actually probably could have worked if there was a better writer team involved, but the writers here just clearly did not give a damn. The writing is really bad. The dialogue is not great. The acting, whether it's because of the directing, the dialogue, or their own personal ability, was just kind of fell flat here. The dubbing work is atrocious. I do like some of the music choices, but overall, this movie's just dull, it's lifeless, and it's hilarious, because it's really bad, and it's amazing that a major movie studio, the one that only a year ago gave us Across the Spider-Verse, also delivered us Madame Web, and Morbius, and soon Kraven the Hunter and Venom 3, which I'm sure will just be lovely movies. Number 12 is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. This game sucks ass, and I'm just so upset that it even exists, and I have to say this. I am one of the biggest Rocksteady fans in the world. Made a whole video breaking down and ranking every single Rocksteady game. I love the Arkham series. It's literally my favorite game trilogy of all time. Game series of all time, if you include the other games that Rocksteady was not involved with. I've been looking forward to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League for so long now. I'm one of the few people that stayed positive throughout the entire, cycle of marketing this game went through. I said, I don't care that it's live service. I don't care. Rocksteady will figure it out. It's a cool idea. The gameplay does look dull, but maybe it'll be cool. I stayed positive. I didn't buy into the hate. I waited till I got my hands on it, and I did get my hands on it. And I'm so empty inside. It was just such a depressing experience. And I just want to say, I went from playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is an epic, sprawling, amazing game, a masterpiece of a game, and went right into Suicide Squad. Literally, one day after I finished Final Fantasy, I was playing Suicide Squad. What a downgrade, man. It just absolutely hit me like a brick. And I'm not even talking about that. I'm not going to be one of those people like, I'm upset with the game because you killed the Justice League. How dare they make you kill the Justice League and kill the Arkham Bat in a game called Kill the Justice League? That's not my problem. I actually think that's a great idea. I think fundamentally, it's a fantastic idea. My problem with this game, the combat is boring. It gets so old so fast. The gameplay cycle and the loops that it puts you through are so repetitive, and it never, ever is fun. The story, at times, works. A lot of the cinematics work, some of the characters work, but there's just never enough of it. It feels so unfinished. It felt like playing Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, that game, which had a lot of unfinished stuff with its story, but at the very least, that game had one of the most fun gameplay loops in the history of gaming. I have like 1,000 hours on that game, despite the fact that its story is incomplete. This game's story feels incomplete, and the gameplay is not fun to play through, so there's no reason to keep me coming back. And there's no ending. You don't even get a satisfying ending. This game's a dumpster fire. I hate it, and I don't want to talk about it ever again. So I'm not gonna talk about it ever again. This is it. Number 11 is Avatar: The Last Airbender, the new Netflix live-action adaptation. It is better than the M. Night Shyamalan film, but it is still not good. And this one actually hurts, because I think, and for me, the hardest aspect of creating a live-action Avatar show, for me at least, in my mind, were to be kind of recreating the world, the production of it, getting the bending right, the visuals. That, to me, is the hardest part. I think the story writes itself. The story is simple. If you get the right actors involved, it's a very, very simple story that's easy to follow and easy to love. Now this show, it gets all the production stuff right. The show looks gorgeous, the bending is cool, the music is amazing. All of that's great. But they somehow fucked the story. And they did this by changing a lot of the aspects of the first season of Avatar. Like, first off, Aang. Like, a completely different character here. This whole aspect of him just wanting to be a kid, not really wanting to be the Avatar, but unwillingly just kind of accepting that, you know, that's kind of missing here. Instead, he's sort of kind of this distant character from Katara and from Sokka. You almost doesn't even need to be involved with them. It's really, really weird. He has no interest in learning waterbending, which is kind of like the whole point of the first season of the show, is him learning waterbending. I don't know, man. This show is absolutely mind-blowing. There's some stuff they get really right. I really love Zuko. I think they do Zuko really well, even though I think they jump the gun with a lot of his character development. Same with Uncle Iroh. I think they get a lot of him very well, except for the fact that they jump the gun with a lot of his character development. Stuff that would happen in later seasons happens here. Fire Lord Ozai, great character. They jumped the gun with his character stuff. He probably shouldn't have even been in this season, but he is. The show felt like it just wanted to be the greatest hits of Avatar. It wanted to hit all the different Easter eggs, all the different stuff that people love from the original, and do it all in one season. And it had no patience, and no sense of time, and no sense of appreciation for the original themes of the story. Because of that, just left kind of empty. But maybe Season 2 will be better. They have a chance to redeem itself with Season 2 because the people running the technical stuff in the show, they know what they're doing. It's beautiful. Number 10 is Out of Darkness. This is a movie that I got to see from Bleecker Street about, earlier in the month. It's a movie I was really, really excited for. Just kind of fell flat for me. It's a movie that takes place in prehistoric times. You have these people, this sort of family who are out and about looking for new shelter, looking for a new place to stay, and they start getting hunted by some evil force. And the movie is essentially a horror movie, a thriller. You don't know what this evil force is. It is, insinuations that it's something supernatural, that it's something animalistic. You don't know, but these people start getting kind of taken out one by one, and we follow them. This movie just ended up being kind of dull for me. Just a little slow, a little boring for my taste. It's a movie that's only an hour and 20 minutes long, but it felt like it was 2.5 hours long for me, personally. It just did not work. I kind of was falling asleep in the theater, but I appreciate this movie. It's technically made extremely well. The ending, although did not satisfy me personally, I can understand how thematically it's a very satisfying ending, and it's probably the only ending that they could have went with, so I understand that. I'm not going to complain about it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But it's a solid movie that I definitely recommend you going to see and kind of making your own opinion, because I see a lot of people love this film, and I don't blame them. At number 9, Please Don't Crucify Me, Helldivers 2. Why is this so low? I just haven't played a lot of it yet. Listen, I'm not a big live service game guy, but of course I got kind of bought into the hype on this one, because everybody else is talking about it, everybody else is playing it. I bought it. I've put 2 hours of gameplay into it. I've enjoyed it. I think it's fine. It's nothing crazy so far, but I'm hoping to get into the gameplay loop of it eventually and then make a big video about the game here on this channel. It's just hard because, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just came out. That's probably going to take me a little bit to beat. By the time that's done, Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out. So, I'm kind of busy with gaming, but I'm going to try to get some time on it. So it's not here because I think the game sucks, it's just here because I haven't played enough of it, but I wanted to mention it. Number 8 is Drive Away Dolls. I've seen this movie recently. My opinion is kind of, soured a tiny bit more than when I reviewed it. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 or a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it when I got out of the theaters, but I completely forgot this movie even happened, and I saw it 1 week ago. That's a bad sign. When a movie is that forgettable, it usually means that, there's something up with it. I probably got to give it a rewatch at some point in my life and see if it holds up, but I did enjoy the movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It's obviously Ethan Coen's first movie outside of the Coen brothers, making it by himself. It feels like half a Coen brother movie in the sense that, it's really, really short and it feels like there needed to be more, but also the fact that it's just kind of half as good as most of the Coen brothers movies, but it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of good times to be had here. It's really, really funny. Margaret Qualley's great. Coleman Domingo's great. Just ends a little too soon. At number 7 is Bob Marley, One Love. This is your standard biopic, and that's pretty much the worst part about it. The fact that it's just standard. It just kind of goes through the normal beats that you expect from a biopic, and it never really takes any risks or any jumps that are different than any of the other films like Bohemian Rhapsody or Straight Outta Compton that you might expect. It just kind of lives in the same mold that's been laid out for it. Which, is that really saying something bad about it? I don't know. It delivers a really unique story, really great story about Bob Marley that's really, he's a great character and a great human being, and Kingsley Ben-Adir is absolutely incredible in this role, Oscar-worthy in this role. The whole cast does a really good job. There's just aspects of Bob Marley's life that I wish they leaned into a little bit more. A lot of the political stuff, how he actually united the country of Jamaica, I think is really beautiful and would have been a really powerful image and story to tell in 2024, which is an election year in which everybody hates each other. So, I feel like that would have been sort of a nice story to tell there, and they don't entirely dive into it the way I want to. Instead, they focus more on Bob Marley's personal life, which I get, but because of that, the movie does slow down at times, but it's really no worse or no better than the majority of biopics we get in recent years. So if you really like the biopics about musical stars, You'll probably really like One Love. If you're not into those movies, you're probably not gonna like this one. Next up is True Detective Night Country. Now, a lot of people hate this show. I don't know. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with this series. I thought it was really dark. I thought it had great performances, specifically from Jodie Foster. I thought the show had an interesting mystery, a deep mystery that, yeah, there's a lot of plot holes around it, but I think the ending and where they go with it was still satisfying. The show had a lot of great visuals. It delved into supernatural horror that I hadn't really seen in any other season of True Detective. Overall, that was a very strong season of television. I enjoyed every second of it, and I don't really give a shit if you disagree with that opinion, because a lot of people apparently disagree with that opinion. I don't care. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I liked it, so, fuck off. At number 5 is the new Matthew Vaughn movie, Argylle. This is a movie that everybody kind of just forgot happened. It had one of the worst marketing campaigns ever, but at the end of the day, I thought it was a really fun action movie. So is Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell, both of which I think do a great job in this film. It's got a bunch of other people do a great job in this cast. It's a really simple action movie. It's got a nice plot that has layers to it and sort of develops. There's a lot of twists, some that really work, some that don't really work, but overall, the action's fun, the visuals are fun, the movie moves really fast. I don't have a problem with this one. A lot of people did. I don't get it. I enjoyed this film. I have no major issues with it. At number 4 is Love, Stalker, Killer, a documentary I watched on Netflix, and it was brilliant. This is a hard one to talk about because, it gets in the spoiler, a lot of what works about this series and the true story is the truth of it, and I don't really want to spoil that, but it's a really, really interesting documentary. One of the better ones I've watched recently. It just absolutely grips you, and it's a really kind of chaotic and crazy story that is really hard to talk about, yet again, without spoiling it. Check it out, though. It's a great February watch if you're really into love and the dangers of love, I guess. Next up is The Walking Dead: The World Beyond. I've only watched one episode. I thought about putting this at number 1. Honestly, personally, I didn't put it number 1 because I thought people would get mad at me, but it's my favorite thing I watched this month. I love The Walking Dead. I love Rick Grimes. I have been waiting 5 years. 5 years to see where Rick went, and finally we got it, and it was the most satisfying one episode of Walking Dead television I've seen in years. It was so good, so beautifully done. I just am so hooked for the rest of the season. If you watch The Walking Dead, if you follow and have been following The Walking Dead for years, you know how satisfying this was. You know we earned this. We earned this moment, and I'm so excited about it. If you're not into The Walking Dead, I get it. You hate The Walking Dead. You think it's dumb. You think it's been on too long. You don't get why I'm gushing over a Walking Dead spin-off show about a character who's been gone for 5 years. And you know what? I don't give a damn. Go fuck yourself. Okay, don't go fuck yourself. Stay here, subscribe, like my videos, all that stuff. But it's a great show. It's a great show. And us Walking Dead fans, we deserved it. We waited so long. A lot of shit. And The World Beyond is here. It's fucking great. At number 2, we have the best movie that I saw this month. I'm talking about Lisa Frankenstein. This was directed by Robin Williams' daughter. It's her first ever feature debut. And it's a movie that I enjoyed a lot more than apparently everybody else, because nobody's really talking about this one. I had a lot of fun with it. This movie's a lot of fun. It stars Kathryn Newton, who redeems herself after that terrible Ant-Man movie that's, of course, not her fault. But unfortunately, she just happened to be one of the stars of that film. But she's here. She's really, really good in this movie. You also have Cole Sprouse, who doesn't get to do a lot with his mouth. That was a lot with his mouth. Why the fuck would I say that? He doesn't talk a lot, but he does other stuff, and he's really, really good here. This movie's just tons of fun. It's really colorful. It's really vibrant. It takes some really big swings when it comes to different things that it tries to do with its characters and its themes. Some of them work, some of them don't work as much, but it's a movie that's short, it's sweet, and I can show it to just about anybody. It's the perfect February movie for all you lovers out there, all you people not sitting in your room miserable all day. Yeah, I'll look at you all happy, and you know what, fuck you. I like the movie, though. It's really good, so go check out Lisa Frankenstein. I think it's out on streaming already, so yeah. Number 1 so far is Shogun. Yeah, it's the best thing that came out this month that I've seen. I've actually going to see Dune today, and today's still February, so technically Dune might be number 1, but, it's a March release, technically. So we're putting Shogun number 1 here. Shogun is really, really good. It's a brand new show that takes place in early 17th century Japan. I made a whole video talking about the first 2 episodes, so go check that out. Link will probably be at the end of this video, or just click on my channel, go watch it. It's really good. I make really good content. If you didn't know, that's why you should subscribe. But Shogun, yeah, it's really good. It's a really action-heavy show. It's got a lot of politics in it. It's very Game of Thrones-esque with both its politics, its violence, its gruesomeness, but also its scheming. Its characters are really great. They all have a lot of depth to them. We don't really know what they want. Some of them we very much know what they want and how they want to get there, but each and every one of them is very secretive, much like the way that a lot of the Game of Thrones characters, you don't know their true intentions really until you start seeing them playing the game and unraveling their own game, right? The world of Japan is so cool, the way they build out all these cities, the sets, the production design, even the VFX and the fake shots, the computer-generated shots, they all look really great. I gotta give them credit. I really like the dialogue in the show. It's written hilariously, like when the fucking English guy is just cursing them out in English. that they say is Portuguese. So one thing I don't like about the show, they're very, accurate. This is a show that's airing on, American networks, and most of the show's in Japanese with subtitles, which is great. They really commit to that. They didn't have the Japanese people speak English and just pretend like language barriers don't exist. No, they have them speak Japanese. But then they have the Portuguese characters speak English and say they're speaking Portugal. That's... why? Just have them speak Portugal. I don't get it. But either way, it's hilarious. It's a great show. The show is not hilarious, but a lot of the stuff with those characters is hilarious. It's building up to be a very interesting cinematic event. I know it's called a mini-series. I kind of doubt it's going to be a mini-series. I have a feeling they're going to be making more seasons of this after the success that it's had, this early success. But I'm interested to see where the story goes and if they wrap it up in one season and then maybe season 2 would be continuing some other sort of story in this universe. But this whole sort of aspect of Protestants versus Catholics kind of fighting with each other and ripping Japan apart, who are also fighting over their own powers and conflicts and thrones. It's all good shit. You love it. I love it. Everybody loves it. Watch Shogun if you haven't watched it. It's easily the best thing that came out in February. It's the video though, guys. Please make sure to subscribe. Turn on notifications. I upload almost every single day. I'll see you guys in the next one.